Oath standing tall in the line, manages 2 back-to-back saves. Another clear goes back upfield, even when Cumberland seems so close to finding ways to score. And now we manage to again defend against it. Cumberland has scored a single goal so far in this series, and they can't seem to get another one. Wova, the stop happens again. Ball State defensively sound right now against this Cumberland team.
Yeah, they're definitely defensively sound, and they're offensively sound as well. And that's right there is a recipe for disaster for Cumberland, right? I was asking, I was begging, I was pleading to find some ways to close in space, especially in that midfield, and that was your opportunity to do it in this game. Even though it's early yet in this particular game, it may be out of time series-wide.
3 minutes left on the clock. Still time for Cumberland to get back in this one. They're able to craft up something nice. Polar from the ceiling gets read by Wova. Yet another ball goes back into the Cumberland half. Both now taking a back wall. The shot towards the back board, but it seems like no follow-up. All Ball State needs to do is just burn clock time because they have that comfort lead right now. Can Knight get something in front of net, and still Cumberland struggling to get in front where they need to score.
Yeah, needing to score and having to do it and having the opportunity to do it are two different things. I understand what the goal is for them, but it seems every time they have something cooking, something brewing, they are cut off at the knees, and that is really a bad thing to be a part of.
Next now trying, has the boost to work with, and Wova denies, double back crippling gun. Oh, this is the opening that Knight needed, and on the board is Cumberland, only 1 differential now.
Well, there was a little bit of a happenstance, a little bit of opportunity, because there was really no position to stop that one just because of how fast it was right in front of net. But you take them as you get them, the lead's cut in half.
Cumberland finding ways to take opportunities. Can they get another one off kickoff? They're certainly in front. Next is coming through, has the shot, and here's the answer. Back-to-back goals, and we have ourselves a tied game.
I do think the specter of being swept is enough to get teams to go into second or third gear, and we're seeing that now. What I asked for, closing down spaces. That right there, prime example.
Again, another mistake. The double commit, the bump into the 2 teammates, that's not what you want to see from a team that was in the lead. Now Oath in a dangerous situation with has the boost to work with off the ceiling, isn't challenged just yet. The double commit does come through. Knight boost to work with, into the corner, looks to win that 50, it stalls there. Knight just patiently waiting, has the teammate come on through, but Oath picks this one up. Polar well read, and Wova now back to collect the flick to keep it upfield. Both teams challenging in this midfield. The most important part of the field, if they can just go that much further upfield to find a way to score.
What is this, game 3, and we're finally seeing our ping pong action in the midfield? This is what I was saying. We really need to have that earlier. They really have that kind of fight for possession. This right here is what we wanted to see early in this series. We're finally getting it now, and that's why the scoreline is reflecting at 2 apiece.
Soft touch by Nex. Knight looking to follow up. Oath can't do anything further. Polar, the touch goes straight into Oath. He will be bumped for his efforts. So next now, an opportunity. Can't do anything with it more than that. The clear goes upfield. Does Polar have an opportunity to read this touch from Oath? Instead, it's Nex who goes up, drops it down to Polar. The shot goes on through, and Cumberland now the lead.
Wow, is that 3 goals scored, 3 goals unanswered? It's the kind of, he's on fire, I like to see. Sorry, another reference there. Doesn't matter though, goes past the net, and Cumberland has their first lead of the series.
It's so nice to see Cumberland be dynamic in the midfield and find the passing plays in mid. There hasn't been too many challenges in the mid part of the upper net, and now we've seen utilizing that space, utilizing the opportunity to put a shot on. That's very nice. Cumberland has their lead, and it's true, they have 3 unanswered goals. Just when you thought Ball State would win this in a sweep, they haven't been able to score in quite some time, and it seems like the shots keep on ringing for Cumberland. That one's saved away, but the pressure there, it says a lot more to how this game speed is going.
It definitely feels like this is a Cumberland team that's actually playing the game we're used to seeing them play, a little fast, coming off, almost feeling like it's 4 cars rotating at once, closing down spaces. This is what the team I thought were going to show up in game 1. We're finally getting it now, and they force a game 4.
A missed touch there. Could be dangerous. This clear goes upfield. Can Wova keep it up? Instead puts the shot on. It still will stay up. Here comes the touch into midfield. Is somebody there? Guh can't find the connection, and Cumberland take the first game in this series to extend it that much longer.
Oh man, what could have been, what could have been. You're Ball State now. You had an opportunity to put the foot on the neck, so to speak. Now you're in a game forward situation. Did they inadvertently let Cumberland back into the series?
I hope they didn't. With that being said, 13 shots to 5. Outstanding numbers by Cumberland. I mentioned Next being the one to have the impact upfield, and 7 of the 13 shots do come from him in particular. But overall, across the team, everyone with 1 goal and 1 assist, which is impressive. But yeah, Next turned it up, and you saw the impact from him not having many shots, in fact, none in the first 2 games, and now having that impact in game 3, really helping Cumberland have the offensive pressure they needed upfield.
I have to really underline the fact that a lot of these goals that the Ball State conceded were kind of freak ones, right? They came different angles, there were bounces, that sort of thing. It won't probably happen the same way again, but the issue now becomes, what can you do to ensure that that opportunity doesn't happen at all? You don't want to have your opponent anywhere near your net to give them an opportunity to do so. So now, I would say, you put cars out of play, it's now time for bumps and demos.
I know we like our bumps and demos, but yeah. I also just want to note that we did see a lot of communication errors on the side of Ball State in that last game. A lot of either both people back flipping because someone calls someone else off, 2 players going into the same spot, or double committing on different opportunities. That needs to be cleaned up because Cumberland took every mistake as an opportunity in that last game, and that's what enabled them to get back in it. So hopefully not too many simple errors from that side. Wova shot off target. That could have been the start to Ball State's momentum, but instead it will stay at 0-0 for now.
It's an unfortunate call for Wova getting past both defenders and having a shot frame, but the post had other plans. But again, love the way how these plans are drafted up on a creative level. It is how they execute.
Knight has an opportunity into the corner. Will get that 50 rolling down. Next is there, but Wova wins this one. Guh back over to Wova, who's up off the side while double tap will not be read as Knight collects. And now back in midfield we go, and all the way across the field. Next has boost, gets his own touch to himself. The shot will be high, but still early. Cumberland finding that offensive pressure that we didn't see so much from them earlier, and that's just what they need to potentially be on the board first.
Yeah, precious seconds are ticking away, but we're seeing a lot of that song and dance in the corners. A lot of times where offense goes to die. And I really thought there would be a goal being scored in that last exchange, but we're seeing that both teams have that plan and dog piles are happening. So if you're Ball State, you got to go wide to open up some lanes to get yourself on the board.
Next here, challenge, Polar towards the back wall. The waterfall down, bred by Wova, but next in the middle field, able to send it away. This buys time. Rotations through, boost full for the likes of Cumberland. And they find a way to stop the Ball State offense. Quickly into that corner. Fuller waiting for the 50. He will not win it. Next needing to find a clear here. Knight seemingly, I think, a little bit bumped. So he won't find the touch. And now Polar needs to make a save on the back wall, and he does find that save.
That one was a little bit, made it look a lot easier than it was to have a barrel roll going the opposite direction. We're fantastic card control. This is why Polar gets a lot of love when it comes to these caster opening analysis, because just being able to be where it needs to be is something that's a bit of an X factor for that Cumberland side.
Ooh, no connection on the bump from Polar. Won't leave that shot open, but Next has an opportunity to find the pass. A great touch by Oath to send this one away, and that will relieve all that Cumberland pressure that we saw. Can Oath win here? Follow up by Wova. Again, another save by Polar, who has been where he's needed to be at all times, offensively and defensively. Gus touch into midfield, quickly taken away. Another 50 to come on through. Wova with the demo on Knight, but no follow-up can be found on the shot until now. Still knocking on the door. Can Polar find this save? No, denied by Wova, who finds the first goal in this one.
Yeah, things are breaking down on both sides. It kind of looked like youth soccer for a bit. But that shows as much about the composure of Ball State to say, you know what, through the fire, there's a needle we got to thread. Shot on target, shot on frame, shot to the net.
A little bit of a tricky kickoff, and Next will get the connection first with this one. manages to find a couple 50s into the corner. But I will say we've seen tons of different shades of gameplay in this one. It has been demos and bumps. It has been passing plays in midfield. It has been mechanics here. God trying to do his best, but it is defended well by Knight. This shot on target, and look, another save from Polar, who fell from that backboard down, managing to do so. Polar keeping his team at this one, 3 of the 5 saves, but yet saves won't win the game now because they need to score, and trying to do so opens up the back of the field.
This is why Savior medals are such a double-edged sword. Yeah, you are keeping your team in the game, but the more you save, the more out of position you eventually become when you do that, and that was something that Ball State capitalized on. Like a barrage, 2 goals scored up there for Ball State.
Well, the opportunity right off kickoff to get something going. Cumberland needs to do something, and they need to do it now. Knight able to get towards that back wall. Can't do much more than that. Polar challenging Wolva up first. Oath demoed on next. Can he find another car? He does. It's been back-to-back demos, but Polar managing to get a touch here, get this ball to next, who's just trying to block the car of Wolva, can't find contact, and 1 minute on the clock. Can Ball State win here in 4?
Bumps and demos, check. I asked for it and I got some. Call me satisfied. What are we talking about? The aggression? This is what we're talking about, is being able to put your team out the game, and that could be the dagger or Chicksa. That's goal number 3.
Phenomenal pass by Oath, who has again been the #1 facilitator for Ball State all series long. A gorgeous one into midfield. Well, they have attacked from time and time again, and that shot goes perfectly on through. 11 total shots for Ball State, just a single one by Cumberland in this game number 4. It's those staggering numbers that there's no reason why Ball State shouldn't be winning, and they indeed are. 30 seconds, all they have to do. It seems like a miracle that Cumberland could hope for at this point. I know I see Polar there on the other side. Creativity, nothing they can do right now to really change how this game has gone. Another midfield pass. Polar may read it, but again, saves will not win them this series. Soon to be a Ball State victory.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to look at the results and say, how did Ball State get here? How did they make this happen? But it really was their passing plays. Game 1, a lot of things were missing out for them. Forget the dagger. That's the twist. That's goal number 4. Now, when things connect with their teammates, knowing where position is going to be, using the crossbars to their advantage, that right there is goals for days.
Yeah, phenomenal game. Really phenomenal series by Ball State. A little bit of a bump in the last one. Allowed Cumberland to get some offensive pressure. Allowed them to get cooking upfield, but this time they don't allow any of it. They stop it at its source. They only give, again, a single shot. We'll see on the scoreboard in just a second. But Ball State, they locked in. They locked this one down, and they're making one of those historic lower bracket runs that I was talking about earlier. It's exciting to see a Ball State that is locked in open number 4.
I mean, GG's and congrats, but I'm 0 for 2 predictions, so I'm not sure how I feel about this today. But you're absolutely right. It was a good series top to bottom. Understanding what worked, not panicking and being reactive when it didn't work in that first set of going, and being able to push things forward. That right there was an amazing display.
Yeah, I mean, huge shout outs, as I mentioned, to Oath for being a facilitator, for I think really getting the momentum and the hype on the side of Ball State with that first overtime goal that we saw from him. As soon as that happened, you can tell they had a lot more energy, and they had so much more thought process in all of their offensive attacks upfield. I enjoyed watching them pick up the pieces and figure out what to do in this one. And then, you know, the rest of the team, again, they really blossomed. So again, shout outs to Cumberland. Of course, they still make it into our championships of this spring semester, but Ball State, they have a little bit more of a run in open number 4, and I'm excited to see that keep on going.
And I wonder what Zeb thinks about that. He was all about Cumberland, like how I was, but I hear you. This one here was a fantastic series, and I know everyone's been taking notes about how to take down this new reinvigorated Ball State, but let's see what the panel thinks about this one, because I know they have some thoughts in their minds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to leave it up to Seb on this one because he just got caught out by the man Navanta.
What do you want?
I picked him too.
It was 3-1. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a lot worse, but at the end of the day, I think Cumberland locked in for one game. That's all I can ask. I think got one really nice shot, and that's just how it plays. Too Fast wanted me to pay, and he did. So thanks, Too Fast.
The bell always tolls, and the house always wins there for Too Fast. But one thing I do want to kind of show the parallel here. The last time we saw Ball State make a run into a top 3 when it mattered in a double elimination bracket, that was all the way back in 2023 when we had league play for the national championship. Shout out to Corelli, the only one who predicted it back then. They made the run against Columbia, against Akron, against West Virginia, and Fisher to get top 3, but eventually we're stopped out there. Is this kind of a similar run that we're seeing here, Navanta, from this Ball State team?
You know what? If you asked me that 2 hours ago, I'd be like, pshaw, bud. But we're seeing it right now. The tools are there. The tactics are there. This could be really that conversation when it's all said and done.
Well, looking at this conversation, Cumberland, last time we saw these teams face off against each other, Cumberland won in 2 Game 5 stunners, but that was in day 1 of the competition of last Open. It's a whole different story and a whole new look at Ball State. Was it just Ball State were just too overwhelming here, Chixa, or was Cumberland just not what we kind of expected from them in this series?
I do think Cumberland was a bit flat for Next and Nightya. In particular, we mentioned and we think about them as the mechanical monsters of field. I mean, I cast it again last week. A crazy goal that Next was able to make from all the way on his back corner, off the ceiling, flip reset. But I didn't get that opportunity today. I didn't see Next blossom in that one game that we mentioned he had 7 shots for.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was a very flat offensive attempt from Cumberland. But ultimately, Ball State has always had that synergy as a team. And as I mentioned, Oath needed to be the one to start it. Well, he was the one to start it. And as soon as they got going, they just couldn't be stopped.
The last time we saw Ball State make a run into a top 3, it ended there against Boise. This time they face off against Cumberland in our next series, or not Cumberland, excuse me, Concord in our next series. And they seem to be the kryptonite of that roster. We'll see if that stands to be the case after the break.
night with you near my side. I can feel us tearing apart from the weight. My mind, I can breathe my sanity. You're my enemy. You're my enemy.
Our lower final is about to be a highlight reel, to say the least. Welcome back to the broadcast here for Collegiate Rocket League Spring 2025. Open number 4, our last one of the semester before the Spring Championship in April. Bottom, of course, we got Jixo, Sev, and Novanta here. If you're just tuning in, we're at the halfway point of the broadcast. Still a lot of action to come. Let's talk about the bracket and how things have gone down up to this point. Novanta, what's been your favorite series of the day so far?
I'm not sure if I have a favorite. Like I said before the break, I'm 0 for 2 for predictions. But I will say it was kind of cool to see Ball State in action. You know, we talked about the players not being in the second day and those who are. But Ball State really showed and proved today that the reason why they're there is because they play a complete game at a high level, at a high pace.
Looking at both of these teams, they faced off against each other a number of times in the past, but Concord, they have struggled when it matters against Ball State, whether it's qualifying through the upper bracket in Open 1 or winning other ancillary leagues out there in the Rocket League Collegiate League scene. Concord against Ball State. This is a storied rivalry that has risen through the ranks since Concord picked up their current roster. But Ball State, this is the hottest streak we have seen them on since I mentioned in that 2023 Fall Nationals run. Talking about that though, Chixa, what are our expectations for this series?
You know, this is two teams that have only lost to St. Clair Green, who is sitting, waiting for one of them to come back. So this is definitely the revenge tour, looking to take down St. Clair to not allow them to be another two-peat open team. So I think both have the same kind of thoughts in mind, but also both are looking at the series, have had an understanding they need to win this one in order to move on to the next. We've seen Concord today be pretty consistent when it comes down to things, and Ball State has also just not wavered that much. So both these teams need to look at staying consistent, playing their game, and having those highlight moments from each player.
Looking at Concord and their series against St. Clair, Seth, and the break that they've had between then and now, what did they need to do to get prepared for this Ball State series?
I mean, the difference is night and day between Ball State and St. Clair, right? Like, Ball State will go for literally everything and just put as many shots on the board as possible. It's very much a style of, hey, we like to just throw everything we can plus the kitchen sink, whereas, unfortunately, in Concord, they're going to have to be a bit more reserved. They're going to be a bit more controlling just to keep up with the pace that Ball State has, because these are players that are incredibly mechanical when they want to be and incredibly quick when they want to be. So I imagine Concord, it's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but they have time to play with.
Okay. Well, we talked to Samas on the Champ League show earlier on Friday. He said they were the #1 team in North America. They still have to prove that, though. They did lose to St. Clair, and they are over top of Northwood, at least in what we've seen for the standings so far. But with that out of the way, Novanta, start us off with your prediction. Is it going to be Concord at least having a rematch against St. Clair, or will Ball State try to make it back there after also getting reverse swept by them?
Concord St. Clair is definitely a banger, but you can't deny the momentum Ball State is having. I may be a believer today. That's my pick to win this one here is Ball State, for sure.
Okay, we got one for Ball State. Potential for Concord here, Sever, is Ball State all the way?
Listen, I've been shut up. All right. I regret any words that I've spoken against Ball State. Too Fast has taught me a good lesson as the coach, as he should. And with that, I'm going for Ball State on this one. They are on a huge upswing. They're the last of the North Americans and want to make that 5.
That's very true. I mean, we have one North American left really on the side of Concord, but they have 3 remaining in the grand final. Ball State need to win this best of 5. From what we've seen in the past, though, Chicks, is it Ball State or is it Concord?
No, we just turned both Novata and Seb into believers, and I'm still a believer. I haven't believed in them before. I picked them today because, you know what, they have also called me out for not picking, and I also go for Ball State. Let's get this salty run back. Let's get the lower bracket run. You know, let's get some Ball State shenanigans. Let's see another winner that we haven't seen before.
No more West teams to stop the journey to the grand final against Ball State. They lost to Boise a couple of years ago, but they took them down to actually make it into the top 8 here today. So nothing to worry about when it comes to Concord, especially since they are on a hot streak. Give me Ball State, because ball is life, and it is in their court for this series. Every time recently, except once in the fall, we have seen Ball State rise to the challenge and take down Concord. I'm saying this one's going the distance to 5 between these 2 top teams. We'll have to see once we get into the matchup itself. Both the teams ready to take the field and prove their worth to see which team is going to be landing themselves on top of the world. Ball State, they got reverse swept by St. Clair. Concord, not quite as so, but they didn't have the best performance that they could have. So both these teams looking for their own form of redemption. That's what's on the line for this series. Redemption, but also to put their names in the record books as grand finalists for the spring 2025 semester. There's something in the water at Ball State that makes them show up when it matters most. However, Concord are itching for that rematch against St. Clair. We have our last best of 5 on the day, so let's make it count and see who's going to rise to the challenge.
Two teams looking for the run back against St. Clair in our last grand final. But first, they have to face each other. And with it, Ball State and Concord looking to take it to the pitch. My name is Sebdon. Along with me is Chicksa for game 1.
I can't believe we just cast our curse. The entire desk. We have all become Ball State believers. I mean, ball is life. And you know what? It is their time to rise to the occasion. But one thing we know from Concord is they have consistently gotten better with their placement across each open this season. 2 teams with certainly a lot to stand for. And CMOS will start off with the save, but they cannot stop the Ball State momentum.
This is already so many flubs from both teams. CMOS with the whiff, but tries to make it on the back wall, tries to get the second touch. Guh capitalizes off the pass. Beautifully done. Already being able to bring Ball State out early with a 1-goal lead. Concord already working from behind. Not how you want to see it, especially when Ball State is such a momentum-based team, as we've seen throughout the course of this bracket, having like 6 lower bracket matches in a row now.
I mean, they're just a team to do it. We have mentioned how well Too Fast does in coaching them and keeping them level-headed. And I think they are also just a team historically that has so much time together. They have the history with themselves. They have that chemistry as teammates. So it's nice to see them clicking today. If they cannot make mistakes, a double commit leads to an open net. And now opportunity strikes for Concord.
Honestly, really well done to be able to convert off of the transition. Helix going to be able to finish it off, and I'm hoping we get to see more of him today. We know that Concord, when they are a successful team, their win condition is Helix getting on the board, is really taking the match into his own hands. CMAS over to Helix, tries to get the 50, but not going to be able to get much out of it. Still going to fight for the possession, however, off the corner. Helix, he's waiting, he's looking for his chance, but Wova's going to shadow him.
However, with the 50, oath to jump early, gets a nice touch towards that backboard. As the read through, Crispy reads it better, but Wolva stopping this in midfield. We mentioned so much how in the last series that midfield control was everything in order to get more offensive pressure. We'll see who ends up with the greater shot count by the end of this one, but that midfield control already important factors in getting continuous shooting efforts.
Bait as well from Helix. Tries to draw out the defender. Crispy can't beat. Simas will hold the midfield. Just going to be stuffed in the space of doing what he can to prevent Concord from getting any space. But Concord going to have to go for the reset just as Gug goes for the fourth reset shot, but it will be stuffed away. Simas sends it downfield for the reset.
Both just safely into the corner. Gut is there to also 50 it. Potential.
Whoa! Helix! Out of nowhere, takes all the control, so much precision, somehow finds his way with the horizontal movement around 2.
Even gets the crossbar to boot. I mentioned there was potential there, but Helix, you said as the factor to give Concord the advantage. Now with both goals for Concord early, normally you think the hot hand is Crispy and Simas. I mean, they just placed top 8 in their most recent RLCS run. It's been the two of them that have been working together so well, and there comes Gone, the answer on the other way. This game just got hotter than ever.
Responding in kind. Wolva, fantastic flip reset pass over to Guh, who is so responsive, already up for it. Tie game. This is going to be a banger.
Impeccable effort, I think, by both sides and finding creative ways to score using their cars as blockers to just make the defensive efforts that much more difficult. Huge 50s as well, coming off of the ceiling and the back walls. Every single challenge needs to be made in quick fashion, and we've seen when those challenges don't come on through, that's when openings are made. Simas has to flip a reset, goes underneath, almost has the second effort. Good thing Guh is there. It takes 2 to stop the legs of Simas, but still more pressure is coming, and Ball State wavering a little bit, bending but not breaking just yet.
Simas doing what he can. Be able to get a demo for his efforts, but Guh will do and try and send this out. Concord slowly but surely clamping down, doing what they can to extend the possession as much as they can, drawing out as many defenders and using as many resources as possible, though this looks dangerous. Helix Simas almost finds his mark, but I think the positioning was just a touch awkward.
Good clear by Guh, but nobody's there to follow up for the likes of Ball State. So now Helix takes this one to the skies, wins the 50. Guh underneath, doesn't get the touch. Almost an opportunity for Helix to get his third, but the clear will come out. Wova gets an extra touch as well. This one, only a clear. That's all that they can do right now. But we'll see what ends up happening as these 50s, these demos, these bumps keep coming.